Hi, everyone. Welcome to Forbes Newsroom. I'm Diane Brady. I'm here with my colleague, Matt Durot, on the wealth team. Matt, we are talking about Elon Musk hitting number 2 in the world. What happened?
Sure. So for the third or fourth time in the last week or so, actually. But yeah, again today he was overtaken by Bernard Arnault of French luxury conglomerate LVMH. So yeah, they've kind of been swapping spots for the last few days, starting with last Wednesday when Arnault sort of passed him for the first time on a couple of occasions, and Musk was able to overtake him by the end of the day. Arnault ended up holding the lead at the end of the day Thursday, and then going into the weekend, Tesla rallied after a pretty rough week, and that was enough to help Elon regain his spot at the top going into the weekend. So it's been a lot of moving parts for the last several days, and I'm not sure we've seen the last of that.
Well, this is mostly about Elon Musk versus Bernard Arnault of LVMH, right? What specifically is the main issue that's pulling down his net worth right now?
For sure. Yeah. So for Arnault, it's been more of a matter of just holding his spot while, Musk, who had a very significant lead over $100 billion at one point, has, regressed back towards him. And, about a year ago, when Elon became the richest person in the world for the first time in September, he crossed the $200 billion mark, becoming the third person ever to hit that mark behind Bezos as well as Arnault. And not long after that, Tesla stock skyrocketed even further, making Musk the first person ever worth $300 billion. So now, as we sit here today, he's back below 200 billion in the 180 billion range. As I said, trading spots with Arnault every day. So it's really been a matter of just a huge fall in wealth for Musk, mostly driven by the devaluing of his Tesla shares, which make up
Right.
the big part of his net worth. And they're down nearly 50% year to date.
Well, it
And I
begs
think
the
there's
question as to whether Tesla itself was overvalued last year.
Sure. Yeah. No, I think analysts are kind of split on that point. I think there's a group that, yeah, will say exactly just that. It's the Musk effect, people chasing a hot stock tied to a big name, that may have, led to it, accumulating a valuation that was never realistic to begin with. And then others, maybe don't hold that view, but view this Twitter acquisition as having been a huge distraction, which has played a big role in wiping out nearly half the company's valuation. And, that's on top of existing problems with, supply chain issues that have really hampered the company's results the last few quarters. So, yeah, it's not been a good year so far for Tesla or Musk.
And you raise a good point, which is this precipitous decline in Elon Musk's wealth was tied to when he took over Twitter. If he succeeds in turning around Twitter, would that have much of an impact on his wealth?
Yeah, I think it would, in two parts. Relative to his Tesla stake, Twitter is still a relatively small piece of his fortune. But we estimate that the value of his Twitter stake is down nearly half from the $44 billion price that he agreed to pay in April before tech stocks crashed and he tried to walk away. So that certainly hasn't helped. So you could see some recovery there. And then I think if he were to just right the ship at Twitter, maybe he could then afford to take a little less of a hands-on approach, which might go a long way to alleviating Tesla investors' concerns that it's just been a huge distraction for him, which has been one of the key things that's been weighing on Tesla's stock price.
So Matt, you're saying that the Twitter stake is currently worth about half. So it's roughly just north of 20 billion is what that stake's worth. What is his total net worth today?
Yeah, so he is, as we sit here, right above 180 billion, trailing Arnault by 3 billion or so.
Down from like 320 billion at some point. And
And
and is half of his net worth still tied up in Tesla, or has that diminished to less than half?
still a little bit more than half at this point. Yep.
So how close is he to Arnault? I don't know if we've seen this back and forth, but does this seem to be a downward trajectory at this point in terms of what we've seen in the last several weeks?
For sure. Yeah. Like I said, Arnault, LVMH is basically flat in the last year. So Arnault has kind of just held his spot in the rankings with his net worth, fluctuating, by a tiny amount, and just kind of watching as Elon, who had led him by, upwards of 100 billion at one point, has, sunk back towards him.
So one other question, which is, I know in the stock market perception is reality oftentimes. Are you getting much of a sense in terms of the sentiment, and is the sentiment overall negative with regard to the impact that his current actions at Twitter are having on investors in Tesla or any of his other ventures?
Yeah, I think so. I think, speaking with analysts, the view seems to be pretty widely accepted that the concerns that Tesla investors had that this was going to be a huge distraction for Musk has turned out to be correct. And I think it'd be hard to find anyone who would, say that the Twitter acquisition has been good for Tesla.
Great. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Diane.